That is not posed.
Oh, no.
No. That's not posed. Welcome to another exciting episode.
I'll feel it real fun for all. On the 2nd of August, 2024.
Oh, my God.
It's Luke and my birthday month.
Oh, not now. Jesus. He wants me to write a review for the Facebook app.
Manifesting questions answered live. Excuse me.
All right. Not
So,
in his group.
do we want to... Okay.
Hello.
All
right. Darkery, you survived it. The outrage.
So,
the internet
we don't
outrage.
See any of your comments because it's full up with where you're sharing it. So it's like we're both probably going.
Yeah, we're not seeing all two people's comments.
Well, I just couldn't even say hi.
Lisa in Low Rock. Darkery. Yeah. I was talking with the Red and Green Things Tom about that, and I told him, I says, because he's finally getting notifications about our lunches, but not necessarily live. And I told him, I said, look, we'll do a live show, and we'll have like 20, 30 people watching. We used to have like 100. And it was like, but we'll look at the stats a few days later, and it'll be like 700 to 1,000. It's like, all right, that's good.
Yes.
So you guys that actually get notified and show up, cool. Those of you who aren't getting notified and not showing up, share the show.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
So, this
Rock.
is your Manifesting Questions Answered Live, the Feel It Real Fun show, brought to you by joinremarkable.com. And today's show is brought to you by, I don't know, identitybasedmanifesting.com.
All right.
All right. So, Victoria has a quote for the cool kids.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for sharing the show, Lisa. Appreciate that.
Good on you.
Doobie bop bop doo.
Yes, I do have a quote for the cool kids, and it's from Neville's Your Supreme Dominion.
Love supreme.
Lecture. And Neville says, you never find a garden unless a man is present. For without a man, there would be a forest of wilderness. But when a man is placed in it, he begins to cut the trees or the seeds of wrong thinking. He clears the ground and he cultivates the ground and then plants wisely. Then you will have dominion, for you will select the seed you will plant, the ideas you will entertain, and you will cultivate them.
See, now I love this quote.
I love it. But I keep doing the wrong things, but that's fine.
Right. You do.
I'd keep learning.
Yeah. Are you having fun yet?
Yeah.
Yes. So I love this quote, and I love where some people are going to take it reflexively, because, Neville said man, right? It's like radio, right? And suddenly they're in an untamed wilderness.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's not talking X by chromosome here. He's talking about why this works. And I digress. But, wow, dominion.
Dominion.
Oh, I got it. Oh.
Dominion.
Yes, dominion.
Yeah, it could be.
Feliz Navidad.
Iron.
So let us start the show with the questions, Victoria.
Okay.
All right.
So the first question today is from Brian in manifestingmasterycourse.com and more. Finding Victoria.
All right, in the garden.
And Brian asks, do you remember the magic moment that sent you on the trajectory to find Victoria? I'd like to hear about how you defined the experience of that state. Also, did it evolve much as it emerged?
I'm curious, when did you buy our home?
2 years before I met you.
All right, so that would have been 2008-ish.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So here's why I asked. Christina, welcome to the show. Shirashri, welcome to the show. And do I have a mohawk? Negative. I have a hat.
I know. I think the black is coming down on the sides or something. Anyway.
We'll fix that some other time.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So it was probably about 2008 when I was imagining being home and feeling held. And that was just my mental experience. I wasn't feeling at home. I wasn't feeling held. I was actually feeling more like held back and at war. So we're living in a war zone. And I did live in the heroin capital of the world. Actually, of Pennsylvania.
Heroin capital?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? It's the heroin capital of Pennsylvania, Fayette County, right? Seriously, look it up, right? Don't lie, right? So it's like radio. So I didn't really feel at home. Right? I feel really held. I felt more held back than anything. And it was all me. right? But when I stopped settling for that state, when I started exploring, feeling at home and feeling held, weird things started to happen. Like I was studying this fellow named Dan Kennedy, and I love Dan Kennedy. And so when I was studying Dan Kennedy, right, one of the things that Dan Kennedy said...
How many times can you say his name? Yes.
Differently, yeah.
Yes.
Was do market research, and I am not a market research kind of guy. I love my people. It's like I'm not going to do market research. Yes. So what can I do, right? And so here's what I decided: I'm going to put up a crazy offer for $100, and I'll make a custom NLP recording for you. We'll email back and forth 3 times because I don't want to talk to you, but I just want to see who is willing to give me $100 without having a conversation. In other words, that's a paying market. Along came a fellow named Mikey in Melbourne. He bought one, right? He shared it with his friend Leanne. She bought one. She shared it with somebody else.
With me.
Who bought one?
Yes.
Right? Why not? Right? And pretty soon, this whole group of weirdo Forex traders says,
Yes.
why don't we have them come down and do a training? Well, if I'm going to go down and do a training, we're going to stay for 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks. A glance turned into a dance and all that stuff, the romance, the chance, and here we are. So it all, for me, started with this whole thing of feeling
held and
feeling at home. And I ended up here. Good Lord.
I remember actually that was the first time you came here. We were walking in the garden.
Yep.
Like we were already sort of an item, but we were but he hadn't been here yet, and we were walking
we were
in the garden,
we were itemizing.
Sort of itemizing.
We were itemizing.
But I remember walking in the garden over towards where the cottage was, and you turned to me and just said something like,
"Oh Jesus!"
Something it was about home.
Yep.
Like,
I remember this.
I found home or something like that.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I'd only known you for a week, so I was a bit taken back. Like, hang on a minute, this is my home.
Yeah. Talk about res geste.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of it, and it happens all the time. And when it shows up, I get to go, "Wow."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I get to watch her go, "Wow." Lovely.
Yeah.
So there's the inception. What caught you to buy this place versus buying a flat in the city for an investment or something?
I would never have done that. I mean, I had seen other places. I saw one in Bend of Isles on the river, which actually I really wanted. But so glad now I never bought that place.
Yeah.
Like I could never have had a garden. Like
Yeah,
I wasn't into gardening them. I could never have had dogs because it was one of these really strict places. You can't cultivate. You can't do what Neville's saying. You can't cultivate a thing.
Yeah.
So really happy that fell through because I'd actually made an offer on it. But but why? And then why here? I don't know. I just remember the first day I came, and I just fell in love. And that beautiful lead light window.
Yep.
I've told you the amount of times I walked back through the empty plot, which is now Starship Enterprise for Ron.
Battlestar Ron.
Battlestar Ron, was
Yes.
it? Okay. But yeah, and it just felt like the whole house was just calling me. It was just gorgeous.
We both responded to a calling, to an opening, to a possibility, to a dance. So we'll be exploring this as the show continues. But just notice how she arrived here, I arrived here. We both were willing and able to dance.
Actually, that's a very key word for us both, the home bit, because I'd never actually at that point owned a home on my own. Like, I'd been in
houses.
Where other people's houses where I've had relationships, and I could have called it home, but it was like the first time I did this massive step and just bought a place just for me, wanting to find my home.
Yes.
And you did the same thing.
Yes. Cool. And it happens to be in Eltham, which is the home or the village of God. So
yes.
Let us continue. We'll talk about the Potter's house.
Okay. So that was for Brian. Thank you very much for your question, Brian.
That's right.
The next question's from Ilona. I think she's also done manifestingmasterycourse.com.
Yes. I didn't get that.
How to stay in state. And Ilona asks, how to stay in the desired state if your 3D is saying otherwise and problems just keep coming at you.
All right, cool. So, yeah, y'all know how much I love the term 3D. It's not at all, right? There's you and what follows you. You walk the dog. I just did a podcast, haven't released it yet, on it's all an illusion, right? It's all an echo, right? You sing your song, it echoes. And so when I read this question, I read the question again.
So how to stay in the desired state if your 3D is saying otherwise and problems keep coming at you.
The last bit's what you're actually accepting is true. Problems keep coming at me.
Right.
Right? There's always, hey.
I'll go and you keep talking and I'll just move the pillows.
So Neville Goddard says that you will cross a bridge of incidents. And so as you cross a bridge of incidents, here's one thing that I notice. The wheels on the bus go round and round, and people in the roundabouts sometimes try to kill me, and every once in a while there's a speed bump or a pothole, right? And that's just the way shit happens, right? But I still, I know what I'm doing today. I'm crushing it at the gym. They've got my heavy bag back. I got my thing that I smash. I got my circuit that I do. I know what I'm doing. Now, meanwhile, probably someone will try to kill me, or there'll be a pothole or a speed bump or something, and I don't care. Yeah, that's the thing, because I lead, the rest follows. I sing, and then there's an echo. And this whole thing, as soon as you buy into, here's my number one thing. Stop listening to people on the internet, says the guy on the internet. Right?
Yes.
Stop it. Because they all get so wrapped up in this 3D reality and the 4D and the 5D, and words have power, and you have to, they just get all wrapped up in secondary cause. On the other hand, pearlpowerpack.com, snuck that in.
Yes.
Right? Pearlpowerpack.com. You're the one cause. That's it. Everything follows you. This thing that a lot of people assert is an illusion, it's very real. Right? And here's the thing. People tend to go to one extreme or the other. They go, it's either all an illusion out there, then they start to feel like they're an illusion. Not a fan of that. That's called nuts. Or they start to go, what's out there? I mean, it just keeps coming at me. It's someone that feels very real. And then you feel less real. The only way I'm real is that I have problems. Problems prove I exist. You start feeling small, and you get to just imagine, look, every time there's this thing that seems like a problem, it's actually an opportunity. It's a possibility presenting itself for you to imagine something different.
Yeah.
So, just like, our first year together, I had to keep leaving the country every 90 days. They didn't have to let me back in. One time they almost didn't. Yeah. Right? There were problems, legal things, dealing with things back there, things here, working through the first 16 months, 18 months, so on and so forth. Get little speed bumps. But it's like, all right, the wheels on the bus go round and round. And we keep driving. So stay tuned. Ilona will continue to answer your question and Brian's as we move on to question number 3 in today's show.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Ilona. The next question's from Michael on Facebook.
I don't know if we have time for this one.
Okay, we'll skip it.
All right.
Time crunch, emergency situation manifesting.
All right.
And Michael asks, any suggestions about manifesting in a time crunch, like in an emergency situation?
All right. So this morning, this morning is an anomaly. Last Friday, because it's our Friday. On Fridays, we do the Feel It Real Fun show, your manifesting questions answered live, and there's certain things that I imagine every time. Right? Great questions, great show. So I imagine, what would imply that we had great questions and a great show? When we hang up, I go, damn, that was good. Right? Right. So that's the kind of thing that I imagine before I get out of bed. So there's a deadline there. It's 5 in the morning when I wake up. It's 10 in the morning when we do the show. So is there a time crunch? Yes. All right.
Emergency situation.
Or
when Bruce starts eating pillows and I've got to leave.
Or when Bruce, slashes his paw and starts bleeding out.
Yeah.
Right? Now here's the thing, right? So I know we all got deadlines, rent, mortgage, all that bullshit, right? we've got company coming tomorrow.
We do.
Right? So there's a deadline.
It's an emergency situation.
Right? It's an emergency
Victoria.
situation, right? Now here's the cool thing, right?
Yes.
A real emergency situation, I don't have time to dick around with anything pearlpowerpack.com. Right? When my dog, so we throw the ball. The dog gets the ball and comes back. We throw the ball. The dog gets the ball, comes back. We throw the ball. The dog gets the ball, turns 90 degrees, goes about 10 meters, and lays down like he's been really bad. Something is wrong with my dog. Right? Now, here's what I do. I come into the house and I turn on one of the videos with a brainwave recording, and I light me some incense, and I get some sticky tape and photos of a dog running, and I start doing chanting. Oh, right? I start doing all this dumb shit. Okay, meanwhile, my dog bleeds to death. Right? Let's talk real emergency here.
Yeah.
Right? And this happens at any time all day long. It doesn't have to be someone or something that you love bleeding out. It could be your soul. Right? Somebody calls, you go someplace, and people just want a itty-bitty shitty committee. I don't hear that. I hear something very different. And sometimes I even ask them, why are you listening to that? Because I'm not. Right? I'm imagining something lovely when I hear people talking shit. I find it utterly fascinating. If I go out in public and I go, shit, fuck, people go, wow, something's wrong with him. But they will shit on each other with what they say, and they will let what someone else says fuck with them. Some people will deliberately fuck with someone else by talking shit, right? Now, I can use those words. Words don't have power. But notice what we're getting at here. Tell us again.
So any suggestions about manifesting in a time crunch, like in an emergency situation?
Nothing out there has power over you, not even time. You give life to time. So when you really start to be willing to notice this, did I need to do something right then and there for Bruce? Absolutely. Okay, I imagined Bruce playing ball. Here's another one, right? Bruce gets the center of attention today. Right, about 6 months ago, Bruce's original mom is coming to visit on a Monday. It's a Sunday, we're eating dinner. It's hot outside because it's 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Bruce picks up the second deadliest snake in our part of the world, one that's about 1 meter long. He lifts it up, it jacks its head back to strike. That dog does not die on my watch. She bursts out and with the voice of God tells him to drop it. Right? Not only does the dog drop the snake drops the dog. Everybody went their own peaceful ways.
Yeah.
Right? So when people have 1,000 different things they will tell you what to do. Stop and be still, massive fan. Do what matters, massive fan. How to feelitreal.com. Do what works. But before all that, you got to buy the pearl. It ain't the deadline that matters. It's not the deadline why people feel pressure. Going back to previous question, there's this whole thing of you want to stop feeling pressure, buy the pearl. Because again, Bruce picks up the snake and I go, Victoria, hold on, let's stop eating dinner. Let me turn on a Brian's brainwave recording or something else silly. Oh, let's look at something with numbers. There's magic numbers.
Saying after that, you instantly thought, I am not telling Reggie.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm imagining Reggie and the
coming
dog.
To see her.
Right? I did not imagine telling Reggie dog dead. Right? And here's the thing. People will imagine dog dead. They'll imagine and then they get lost in their shit. And let me put on some brainwave recordings and light some incense and do some chanting so I can distract myself and feel better. Yeah. Pearlpowerpack.com. How's that for harsh?
Very good.
Hoo-ha. That's called real emergency, by the way.
Yes. Well, a few of those were around Bruce. Thank you very much, Michael.
He's our good dog.
Yeah. For your question.
What? Love you. What, you're going to hump that one now?
The next question, you must have heard his name a few times, so he's come up on
They're talking about me.
I know.
I'll get a kiss. I love you. That's my dog.
The next question is from Riri in dreamdrivenday.com. Feeling pressured to nail all of them. And Riri asks, when there are a lot of things there you want to manifest, I feel a bit pressured to nail all of them. Like, how do I move on from next desire to another while I'm not really sure if I nailed the first one or not?
Cool. So you haven't nailed the first one. By the way, Neville says the moment a desire is upon you, that's when you move into its fulfillment. It's assumption. You surrender into that, by the way. Combining a few verses here, but it's really, really important. I don't have a shopping list. You want to drive me nuts?
Give you one?
Give me a shopping list.
Okay, I won't do it again.
and have on the front of it something like OPEC. And I get to go, what the fuck is an OPEC? Right?
PTO, it
yeah,
said.
PTO, right? So I end up asking green and red things, Tom, and a couple of people, what's a PTO? Right? No, in all seriousness, a shopping list is great for what?
Shopping.
Excellent.
Yes.
Right? So when there's stuff she wants me to get,
Yes.
a shopping list is a useful tool.
Yes.
On the other hand, when it comes to manifesting is not shopping. It's selecting. So here's the thing. JoinRemarkable.com. Sorry for all the crass commercials. We started this year exploring something called wrong answer. We started this year exploring something called no or more please. Rational versus magical. Rational makes it really hard. Rational is like ticking boxes,
Shopping
making sure you
lists.
do all the steps, shopping lists, all that stuff. On the other hand, magical, when something shows up, like a dog, right? I'll give you a very practical example. You can say no or more, please. This dog here, right, showed up on Facebook. I made a comment. Nice dog. All right? The lady that had the dog said, hey, a patient of mine has to give this dog up. Do you want it? And I said, more, please. Let's meet it. So we meet the dog, right? Emmett's a dick to it. It does all right. Yeah, now they're brothers.
He
Right?
survives.
I met her. She met me. We both said more, please. This is really important because it's not like I made a list of things, a home, piece of property with a tree and a dog and a car. And as the desire shows up, you move into its assumption. What's happening to you probably is you're thinking, if I have all these 7 things, I'll be happy. Common mistake, may or may not be your situation, but my experience is the moment you feel a hunger, we're having seafood for lunch.
Yes.
You'll never guess why. Right? I walked past the seafood section and I went, that looks yummy. There's a disaster zone and a 4-foot person behind the counter. we're gonna have a lovely time. Right? So when you make a shopping list, it becomes like shopping. You're not here to shop. You're here to select. When something shows up, you either say no or more, please. And it ain't the words. It's a feeling. Am I crass commercial? JoinRemarkable.com. How's that? What do you reckon?
Very good. Yes.
By the way, I'll also do this with identitybasedmanifesting.com. There's a lot of things in my life. Right? Now, if I chunk up, I get to go happy loving teacher. Right. What's happy loving teacher do? Oh, he nails a podcast. Yep. I'm happy. I nailed that. Right. I do some articles. Right. Wrote 2 this morning. Radio. May do some videos. Oh, that's cool. Got 2 live calls tomorrow. Right. Group call over the weekend. Oh, yeah. See, those are easy for me to give life to because I've already given life to an identity that supports all those activities, which give me all these seeming things. So, identity-based manifesting.com.
Cool.
All right.
Excellent.
We should buy crasscommercial.com. I should see if, wouldn't that be the ultimate name for the store? We already got Neville Goddard.
Instead of, go to crashcommercial.com.
Go to crasscommercial.com. Please, nobody buy that by the end of the show, because if it's available, I'll buy it just for fun.
Okay, thank you, Riri, for your question.
This poor woman, she does the bookkeeping and shit. And she goes, what's this? I say, oh, dear God.
No.
Yeah. You bought it for 5 years? Yeah.
The domain names, yeah. The next question's from Anula in Dream Driven Day. The state of complete question mark.
That's right.
And Anula asks, I've been playing with the state of just being complete. I've found trying to focus on one state, I'm more moved. To be complete means to me I have my desires. I'm unsure if that's enough.
Cool. I love the question and I love the end of it. What's the end of it?
Yeah, to be complete means to me I have my desires. I'm unsure if that's enough.
That's right. Your desires are dynamic. Again, if we go back to the shopping list theory of life, it just gets really weird to me. On the other hand, I manifested the Mercedes in 77 minutes. I've been kicking it around for months. But as soon as I got out of the car, the Bimmer, and I walked back a tiny little bit, I saw this Mercedes that just captivated me. Just absolutely captivated me. And I walked around and I'm telling her, I really like this. I got to try to remember what it is because this is what I want. And I go into the pool. My buddy Jim pulls me aside. He asked me if I found my Mercedes yet. I said no. My other buddy Rod and I talk sourdough bread and balsamic vinegar. We've never talked cars. And he said, I heard you talking to Jim that you're looking for a Mercedes. I said, yeah, do you got one? He goes, yeah. Do you want to sell it? He goes, I think I do. All right, we shook hands 77 minutes after I looked at his car. And I didn't even know it was his car. Mm. That's what's cool. And I got a great deal on it. It's a lovely car. And I'm happy as a clam. But I didn't make a shopping list. I couldn't even figure out what kind of Mercedes I wanted. Never owned one before. But the moment the urge, yeah. And I didn't even make it about that car. I made it about that kind of car. I surrendered to that experience.
It's actually quite good for Riri because
Yes.
I'm thinking that when she said like she doesn't even know she's nailed it, and you knew you hadn't nailed it as such.
Yeah, totally.
But you, as you said, you've been kicking around for a few months. Like, yeah, I want a new car. Yeah, I think I'd like to try Mercedes this time instead of the BM. But it was, but that moment when you saw that car, and as you said, it didn't have to be that car, but it was that model, that sort of like
totally.
CLK
That car.
series.
Right. Absolutely.
You decided that's what I want.
By the way, I'm a quirky fella. Right, and if you see the show where we talked about this a couple of shows ago, I mentioned that I made up a really weird condition in my brain, and it was I have to buy it from a reputable dealer or somebody who I know, love, and trust within 5 Ks of Eltham.
That's right.
Right, I wasn't driving for an hour to look at a car. I won't do that. I think that's insane. Now, a lot of people would think what I demand is insane, but this is what I expect, right? And Rod lives right up over the hill. Bum, 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 bum.
Cool.
All right.
All right. So that was for Riri. Thank you very much. Ilona, I'm
That's
sorry.
Right. By the way, let me clarify a little bit more.
Yes.
So the feeling of complete,
Yes.
for me, almost feels like death. So I've completed everything. Now what? For me, it sort of leaves me flat.
Yeah.
Right? Chalking up to decent identities, I find to be a lot of fun. But in any typical day, I will cycle through happy, loving teacher, happy, loving puppy, dad, happy, loving husband. I'll be cycling through those and surrendering to them dynamically as they show up. That's good fun. On the other hand, complete, that's just a weird up in the air concept for me.
It does actually feel dead.
Yeah.
It feels like death, actually.
Yeah.
Because really, if I just feel complete, like everything. Yeah. It's like the Now What, like you said.
Yeah,
we did a great show on Now What as well.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
So by the way, I've got this desire. My dog is right here, and he's close by, and I have a desire to pet his head. And so while doing the show, happy loving husband, happy loving teacher, happy loving puppy, dad, they all dance real quick. If I just felt complete. Yeah. Complete almost to me feels like a war against everything else, like incomplete. So it's like calming down. Not a fan of calming down. I enjoy peace. And as soon as things get peaceful, shit happens. Yeah, I guess he's stirring that up.
Yeah.
Brizzy boy. Yeah, I do love that dog.
Cool.
Enola, thank you. Great question.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Enola.
Doobie bop bop doo.
The next question's from Ego in Remarkable. That's joinremarkable.com.
That's right.
Stop self-sabotage.
By the way, I got to tell you something. So this chick reaches out to me. Actually, she tries to join. She goes to the Remarkable Facebook group.
Oh, yes.
And she tries to join. I'm like, all right. So I wrote to her. I says, hey, I see you're trying to join. So I click on the messenger thing. I say, hey, I see you're asking to join. Are you familiar with what we do? Are you familiar with Remarkable? And she says something like, well, like I have it and I'm not doing anything with it. I'm like, all right. So it's like, what do you got? So she's got this little paperwhite tablet thing called Remarkable 2 or something like that. And she just isn't like motivated to do anything with it. I thought, wow, so you bought a $700 toy and you're not doing it. I said, wow, cool. Yeah, you ought to check out some of our shit. She goes, oh, no, I think I'm in the wrong place. So, right. So she's in a super stuck place. She wants to join a support group on how to use a piece of technology. But it's not about the technology. It's about you.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Okay.
All right.
So, Remarkable Ego asks...
That's right.
How to stop sabotaging yourself.
That's right. All right. What's the question?
How to stop sabotaging yourself.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all she said.
How to stop sabotaging yourself. Cool. Ready?
Yes.
You're nowhere there. You're not in the question. Right? How to stop sabotaging yourself. I don't. So here's
that. How do I stop sabotaging myself?
Yeah. So the question is, how do I stop sabotaging myself? Something will move your body if you ask the question that way. And I could say, cool. Yeah. How'd you do that? How'd you do what? How'd you answer the question? How do you sabotage yourself? Tell me more. How do you do this? So I'm curious about your inner process. This whole concept of sabotage yourself is like subconscious. It's all these concepts that are useless. For me, and I'm not going to pick on Ilona, but I'll pick on the thing, complete, feels useless to me. Every now and then, I just want to do some boom boom in the room with her. That's a desire, right? Yeah. And if we both surrender to it, yeehaw, right? So that's real. Right? So sometimes we have fish. Yeah. Yeah, me, I'm having some pork and lamb with the fish. Why? Because that's the kind of guy I am, right? So what's Egga's question again?
Well, how to stop sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, there's no you there. I suspect that's how you are doing it. You're not showing up in your life. You're letting your life be out there someplace. You're letting your life happen to you. Versus, how do I do something different? See, there's a reason why I use the language that I do. Some people say, well, I want to make things better. You get sabotage yourself, you probably want to do something better. I'll call bullshit on that, because as soon as you start focusing on doing something better, then you're going to start scanning for, is it getting worse? Better and worse walk hand in hand. It's comparison. And in comparison, that's hell. On the other hand, what could you do different? Right there. What could I do differently? I'm talking at a different rate, experiencing something differently. So self-sabotage, a concept, try to find some self-sabotage someplace. It's like trying to find your subconscious someplace. It's just whack, right? It's just one of those wackadoo things that a lot of people talk about that doesn't exist. What exists is, all right, what could I imagine differently? How could I imagine differently? Some people say, oh, revision is my tool. I use it for everything. And I said, wow, what's for lunch? Right? Yeah, this ought to be fun, right? Are they all congratulatory conversations, right? All right, so do you hear them when you're by yourself? Right? There's so many ways to play. Play in different ways. You want something different? Play differently. You want something better? Yeah, you're going to start scanning for worse. You want to stop something that's a concept that doesn't exist? And like I said, your language to me indicates that it's all out there someplace. Like it's a concept, like it happens to me. Yeah. So I'm glad you asked. This will bless a lot of people. And listen to that fourth call from Remarkable this year.
Cool.
All right.
Good one, Ego.
That's right.
Thank you very much for your question.
By the way, I wonder what's in that fourth call.
Yes, I wonder.
Yeah. More on that
We've
later.
Got a few. Okay.
Why would I say to listen to a call that I don't know what's there? Right? I'd say that because it's not. You don't need a piece of specific advice. You need to do something differently.
Oh, like order number 7.
Yeah, item number 7. Right? Yeah. You ever go out to lunch with someone who tortures you because they don't know what to order and they order the same thing again?
Really? Who would do that?
By the way, she's not that bad with it, right?
I'm not as bad now.
You're not as bad now, right? But it's really nice whenever you can just go, fuck it, I'm ordering item number 7. What's that? For me, one day it was curry powder. Right, I went to this vegetarian Indian restaurant back in the old country. My friend Myra, who's a big veggie, kept saying, "Oh, it's lovely." So I went there, and I just sat there at peace for like 20 minutes, and the waiter stood there at peace for about 20 minutes, and one finally came over, and he told me something like, "Normally they wave when they want something," and I said, "They're not here." So we shared some giggles, and he's like, "What do you want?" So I went item number 7, 14, and 21. So he came back and he goes, "Do you know what item number 7 is?" And I said, "No." And he brought it to memory, and he described something. I'm like, "Oh my God, that sounds delightful." He goes, "It's curry powder." I said, "All right, that'll do." By the way, I'm going to run with Ona's question because it's right here. Ready?
Okay.
Ona says, "Can I prevent unwanted thoughts when meditating?" God, I have no idea. Now let me run with this because this is really good. Ready? You are silence. You are the silence that hears the sound of my voice. You're the stillness that watches everything move. Right? Now here's what's really, really cool. If you assert that you're anything other than that, what you're going to have to do is try to quiet your mind. Your mind's job is to think. Now let's just call it the thinker. The thinker's job is to think. The emoter, the feely thing, likes to feel stuff. They've got jobs to do. They're little tiny television sets in massive apartment buildings. And so, yeah, so when it comes to, I'm curious, what would meditation give to you? People do different things and call it meditation. I just enjoy being in the present moment. And it's really easy just noticing I'm silence. And I even hear the sound of my own voice. I'm the stillness that notices the motion I participate in.
That's split personality.
When you're willing to explore a different model, just like ego, when you're willing to explore a different model, unwanted thoughts, right? Wanted and unwanted thoughts, they all come from a state. When you change your state, your thinkings change, your thoughts change. A loving happy husband, when he sees an orange ball out in the garden and she's cutting the grass, he picks it up. Loving happy puppy dad, when he sees an orange ball out in the grass, he picks it up and throws it. So it's different behaviors that the body does, the thinker does, the emoter does, and it all comes down to the state that you're in. And also, if you just realize, I am the stillness. I'm the silence that hears this crazy guy saying it and watches him turn his head. So, great question, Ona. I'm glad you asked.
Good one, Ona.
Cool. Reach out if you want to more.
Clarification.
All right. Yeah. Cool. And Victoria?
And the last question today is from remarkable Lisa and LaRoque. High purposes.
Yes.
And Lisa asks, hello, 20 in Victoria.
Yo, Lisa.
In The Search,
yes,
Neville tells us of his intense meditation upon the idea of perfection.
Yes.
He said, I had been so completely absorbed within the idea that for a while I had become what I contemplated, and the high purpose with which I had for that moment identified myself, drew the companionship of high things and fashioned the vision in harmony with my inner nature. And then Lisa says, anxiety from overthinking can be addictive, as you mentioned in a recent podcast. I've been asking, how can I be the blessing? How may I bring value? These questions move me to dance with others. Please share why high purposes are so irresistible. Thank you, Lisa.
Cool. So here's what I notice, right? So being a marketer, I can mention, hey, here's a really good deal, $97, 90-day program, so on and so forth. Identity-based manifesting, blah, 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 something else, change your life, all that bullshit. And it's true. The one thing that I notice is people are starving. So people are starving, and they're eating a lot of junk food. And so I look at what we've been able to accomplish in the past 14 years, and it ain't shit. We've got 3.8 million listens, almost 2 million views. We've made some decent money over the years. And I still don't think we've done shit. When I look at everything, here's my biggie. People are starving. When I work with a business client who refuses to build a business, I'll be honest. I tell them, you must hate your kids or your spouse or your market. Because if you've got something worth sharing, you better share it. They're starving for it. If you've got something, if you made the best bread in town and you refuse to sell it and share it, and people are eating shit bread, you've got no right to walk around saying, why are they eating shit bread? Yeah, for me, this whole thing with higher purposes, I love business, by the way. I think business is great. I think, it's... Yeah, I think business is a tremendous option. And what I love about business is it's one of those really cool ways. If you think you're enlightened or you want personal growth, start a business. That way you get to get really honest with yourself about what you're capable of and how you want to give. So when it comes to higher purpose, I'm always looking at things like, how do we more effectively give more? How do we more effectively help people? So we do some group courses, we do the ongoing Remarkable program, we do these different things. And for me, is there an income? You bet. Yeah, cool. So is there an income? You betcha. Do I enjoy the income? You betcha. Do we want to double our income or work half the time? You betcha. I'm very real into these things because, I know a lot of people that work 80 hours a week and they're not satisfied. Our wood guy was telling us, we called the wood guy the other day. And I said, Tony, can you bring us 3? I don't know if it's cubic meters or cubic yards or cubic tons or something. I don't know. But can you bring us 3? He goes, 20, I only do 5 now. And he apologizes and he tells me why. He basically says, look, I'm not making any money. If I do 1, 2, or 3, I end up driving all day and I'm not making any money. I'm only doing 5 or more. I said, bring it. All right, send me a bill and bring it. Yeah, we got Timmy coming on a Thursday. He can stack it and move it around. That's cool. Works for me. Right? Which brings us back to this whole higher purpose thing. For Tony to serve his family and his people, he has to discover how that works for him. We all get to do this. We get to go radio. How do I set up a life? As far as I'm concerned, I will call it a higher purpose. Our whole thing, my whole thing, more playtime, more playmates, bringing more beauty in the world. I'm not a fan of, I just want to give life to something I'd love. I am a fan of giving life to what's lovely for everyone. So when I manifest up a good car at a great price, it's not just for me to have a good car at a great price, it's to have a story to share so you do it. It's and the guy that sold me the car, he's super happy because he gets to see it all the time. It's like family to him, and he knows I will take care of it. So we're friends. He gets to see his car. I told him, I said, Rod, I'm really disappointed in you. And he's like, what? And I said, listen, all right, you gave me 3 remotes for the car. Right, you should have kept one.
No, you stolen it.
Yeah,
just took it for a drive.
Move it around the parking lot. Put it where I didn't park. Right, that way you can keep my life a little bit eventful. Right. So come on, where didn't I park the car? Right.
That'd be funny.
But this is how you get to live your life, which to me is just marvelous. So if you can take something, again, I love imagining double income work half the time. That's all sort of fun. But what I really imagine are where we bless 20 people, we bless 2,000. When we bless 1,000 people, 1,000,000. And how do I change for that to happen? I get to let my message in me evolve and grow up and show up differently. So this whole thing of higher purpose, I'll toss it around one more way. December 25th, I had the epiphany, which had me shift my identity, which has had me lose like 45 pounds of ugly fat and gain about 15 pounds of muscle. It gives to her. Right? I am so much more fun and functional being in almost zero pain and being able to do
Gives
shit that
to
I haven't done.
everyone.
It gives to everyone.
Dogs.
It gives to the dogs.
Yeah.
It will give to what we do in the next 2, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And so when people say, man, I don't know how you do what you do. I couldn't resist sugar or whatever. And it's like, sugar is poison. Right? Yeah, so is broccoli. Right? Now, with some of that, I'm having some fun. But I'm also pointing out, I don't have the room for bullshit thinking or thoughts because my higher purpose has me devoted. When your day is a devotional act, right? When your day is a devotional act. Hi, Lynn. When your day is a devotional act, I can't help but when somebody signs up for a one-on-one or a group course, and yes, those are hints to go, oh my God, I get to have a dance with them this weekend. Oh my God, they signed up for, I've got one slot on Australia Mondays that I've left open in the afternoon, and somebody just took that. And I go, meat. Right? We're going to have a great time. Right? And it's not just, oh, I made some money. No. It's I get to take an hour out of my Monday afternoon and dance with a human being and invite more dance into the world. Or dog. That's not the usual bark.
No, it's not.
All right. So, how'd we do?
Yes, you did ace.
Anything you want to add on to that?
No, because I got but I do remember at the beginning, before I got whatever the word was with the dogs letting them out and everything.
Who let the
when you started
dogs out?
mentioning like the stats and all of that, but it's like, but that's not why we do it. It sounded like someone was out there talking. Might be wrong.
I think he's
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and higher purpose. It used to drive me batty when I was young,
Right.
thinking, what's my higher purpose?
Right.
But I do think now you could definitely add an S on the end.
Yes.
And they're
like
in
destinies.
all walks of life,
Yes.
all areas of your life, of my life. There feels like a higher purpose that gives back to me and to everyone else.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, with this whole purpose thing, Neville Goddard says that you came here for a divine purpose. That purpose is to know imagination. Not know about it, right? Mm-hmm. To know it. How do you know it? Mm-hmm. You get to give life to things that you're passionate about. And you get to give life to things purposefully that you're passionate about that bless all kind of people. I see Lynn and Lisa here, you know, and it's like when you guys snap a photo, you reveal the divine, and whether or not they know it, they just got punched in the most lovely way, and it's that kind of thing. Anyone can click a button, but when you click a button with just this, when it does that to you, it does that to them. There's higher purpose to them.
Actually, Lisa, I just remembered at the end of her thing, definitely, whatever the word is, not hinted at that, but led in that way, like,
Yes.
what is my value here? Or
Yes.
those questions that she was, how can I bring value? How can I be the blessing?
Cool.
And it's like
So I got to run with this again.
Yeah.
Right. So I notice. So I've got a lot of Facebook groups, the Remarkable groups, the Dream Driven Day groups, the public groups. Some people answer a question because they're clever. Some people answer a question so they can be right. Are you answering it to give? And that's massive. Can you ask a question that gives to the group? Can you answer it in a way that gives to the group?
Yeah.
It's totally different than, here's a clever question. Right? I could give a shit about a clever question. Right? Here's a clever answer. I could give a shit about a clever answer. I want to invite you to elevate your value. I want you to get how valuable you are. So when I get these questions from Lisa, yeah, and you know this, yeah, I look forward to them every Friday morning when I get up. I'm sitting there going, oh, come on.
Because it's such a blessing for us.
Yes, what
to
you
then
ask
give
is
to
of
everyone else that's
yes,
viewing the show. Like,
yes,
yeah.
and I love questions like this. Some questions, not a fan. Yeah, if it's a question you can ask Google, right? So, thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Excellent. So thank you, Lisa, for your question. And what we'd like to know now is tell us your hashtag strawberry bet.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I don't know. So many goodies in today's show.
Yes.
And, yes. So I'll let you go first, and I'll...
Cool. So I called it the special edition Garden Girls show. So we started with the quote. We drove in. This is really, really cool. And it's so interesting because look at all the questions. I picked out the quote before I looked at any questions. Without man, it's an untamed wilderness. When you look at every question, what we're doing is we're taking a wilderness, aren't we? In all seriousness. Yeah. Hey, Frank. Now, we're taking the wilderness can be a problem. The wilderness can be a potentiality. It's really going to be a mixture of the two. And we're taking a wilderness, and we're doing something delightful with it. You know, we're just doing something valuable with it. So this one I dedicate to you.
Oh. Now Bruce is trying to charge the
now
door.
Bruce is trying to come in.
Thank you.
My dad's
babe.
going to cry. I got to go in there.
Yeah, I better. So thank you very much. That was 20 strawberry beet. And while you type in yours, we had loads of crasscommercial.com's.
Just go to NevilleGoddardStore.com.
Yeah.
Right, go there, do that. If you're just starting out with us, howtofeelitreal.com for the beginner videos. But we talked about a lot of good shit today. Cool.
Talked about loads.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
All right.
Thank you very much. And we'll catch you next week.
That's right, Victoria.
That is right.
And today we're going to have yummy